Welcome back to the Ag Bowl Podcast. I'm your host, Tommy Grisafi. This podcast was filmed and recorded in Valparaiso, Indiana. This podcast will be available on YouTube and also Spotify and anywhere, Apple Podcasts, and anywhere you listen to podcasts. We haven't done a podcast in a while, so we brought you someone really special. Kayla Walker, Miss Rodeo, Illinois. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me, Tommy.
So we're going to look up, not down, because I want to look down, but no, we can't do that. Now I don't have to take off my glasses, so I can't see you, you can't see me,
Okay.
which is fine. What is Miss Rodeo, Illinois?
Miss Rodeo, Illinois was an association that was started several years ago. We're with the PRCA, the Professional Rodeo Cowboys Association, and our job is to be the first ladies of professional rodeo.
All righty. Well, make sure you talk real loud and clear so everyone knows what you do and who you are. Tell me a little about yourself, because I read your bio, but I'm sure others will check up on what this is, and tell me about yourself. Then tell me, what states is something like this available in?
So I started originally my career with rodeo when I was about 14 or 15. My parents would not let me have a horse, and I bought one anyways and kept it at a friend's house. And after that, I started barrel racing, getting into other disciplines, and it really just became a lifelong dream to become Miss Rodeo, Illinois. And from there, after getting my degree, I was able to come back to Illinois for starting a career, and it just kind of fell into my lap to go after that dream. So here we are today. We currently have, I believe, 33 states that have a Miss Rodeo title through the PRCA. So we're really growing. I think we're one of the biggest class in several years. So hopefully we can continue to get that in more states. Some states do not have residency restrictions, so definitely if you are in a state that doesn't have it, reach out to a state that does, and you might be able to get in.
It sounds good. And you acquired this position, and it's, what, a year long?
Yes, so my title is held from January 1st to December 31st of this year. Our pageant is held on Labor Day weekend, so there will be a few months in there that I will have a lady in waiting that I will get to show for a few months how to be a title holder and how to present yourself as Miss Rodeo, Illinois, and then they will take my title on January 1st.
What comes next? You said you wanted to talk about Las Vegas and other things.
Yes. So I will be headed to Las Vegas, Nevada for the Miss Rodeo America pageant. It is the most pristine rodeo queen title in the world, practically, with how present rodeo is in America. So I will be headed there the first week of December to compete for 8 days at the Miss Rodeo America pageant at the South Point Hotel and Casino.
Is it like when all the farmers we work with, when they go to Vegas for the that same 10 days?
Yes.
What's that called?
The National Finals Rodeo, NFR is what most people call it.
Okay, so when I watch RFD TV, they have a lot of coverage of that, right?
Yes, they do.
And didn't they just start a channel called the Cowgirl Channel?
They did. So
Tell me more about that, Cowgirl.
The Cowgirl Channel is awesome. It's so present now with breakaway roping becoming bigger, barrel racing becoming bigger, that we actually have a platform to showcase women in the Western industry, whether that's rodeo or an ag-related field. I think it's so incredible that I get to be a title holder during a year where we're actually encouraging women and showing women that they can go out and do everything that a man can.
Oh, absolutely. And I wouldn't argue that point with you, otherwise I'd get in a lot of trouble. And you've had several women support you, a few we know from our work, right? Where do you work?
So I am currently a broker's assistant at Advanced Trading here in Bloomington, Illinois at the corporate offices. I work under a few branch brokers, no women currently, but I started here as an intern last summer with a branch broker that was a woman. So.
Oh, very good. Are you going to mention her name or just keep everyone holding on here?
Tony Dunker is an incredible woman, and I would not be where I am today without her, for sure.
Oh, very good. Well, every successful person has had a little help from someone, or at least encouragement or something.
Amen.
And then what do you do there? I notice when I come down the office, we see you there, and you're sitting in your cube.
Yes, so I am a broker's assistant, so I do anything to assist the brokers, whether that be placing trades for customers when they call in, dealing with a little bit of some of the money issues, or anything that comes up, and then any sort of more so like you want to consider what a receptionist job would be like.
Sure. And you graduated college. Well, let's get into that. Let's take it all the way from when you were disobeying your parents at 14 on. Where'd you grow up? High school, college? I think there's a couple colleges you went to. Let's talk about that a little bit.
So I graduated from Quincy Senior High in Quincy, Illinois, where I was born and raised all 18 years. And then I moved on to John Wood Community College. I went there for 2 years, got my associate's degree of arts, and then from there I pursued an ag business degree from Oklahoma Panhandle State University in outside of Guyman, Oklahoma. It's considered Goodwell, Oklahoma. Where our number one sport was rodeo, so I was definitely in my type of community out there. And then from there, I was the equestrian team captain, which gave me a lot of horse equine knowledge to work on. And then I also was the OPSU spirit rider. So if anybody's ever seen where at a football game there's someone actually horseback carrying a flag, that was my job.
That's
so
awesome.
it was a fun experience, definitely something different to put on a resume.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Out where I live in Indiana, we have a high school, a military academy, Culver Military Academy. Have you heard of that?
Yes, I have.
They, like during the presidential inauguration, they'll have the boys and girls and men and women, we'll call them, on the horses during the inauguration, and they are very good at what they do.
Yes, it takes a lot of work to do that in front of a lot of people.
Well, the horses don't always cooperate also, right?
Yes, you'll have that too. They're another mind of their own. So
You mentioned before in something I had watched that you a friend of yours let you borrow a horse because you didn't have a horse. Was that Tony?
So yeah, Tony has let me borrow several horses now. I started cleaning stalls for her, actually, was our first more so interaction. And then she said, hey, well, I've got a retired reiner if you'd like to ride her. And so I started riding that one, and she just keeps throwing me on new ones that she gets in different things. And so it's been cool to grow as a horsewoman with her on some of her different horses.
Mm-hmm. Good. And go back, these competitions, you're talking about them like everyone listening to the Ag Bull podcast knows, and I don't know, so I have to go over each individual event. What are the events you can qualify for or compete in, and what's involved in that?
So for the Miss Rodeo Illinois pageant, we have public speaking, interview, horsemanship, and then we also have another interview that's related just to horse things, as to put it in better terms for people who don't know. So it's anywhere from rodeo knowledge to equine knowledge, livestock knowledge, and then we also do impromptu questions. So it is a 3-day long pageant where you are solely focused on just being with the community and striving to be the best individual you can be for the sport of rodeo.
And the ultimate goal is to win it all, right? Like the...
Yes, so for me, obviously, I wanted to win Miss Rodeo Illinois. We have had girls compete in the past that just wanted the experience and wanted to do it, and we are more than welcome to opening it up to those kinds of people. It's a great opportunity to grow as a person and as just anybody in the rodeo community.
And what would be the, I understand there's a large financial, it takes a lot of money to do this, right? What, you're looking to raise money, is that correct?
Yes, so we have what we call as a sponsorship program. So people can sign up for a sponsorship level depending on how much they're wanting to provide, and then we give them back in return advertisement opportunities. So
sounds wonderful. And
so our lower level starts at about $250 and under, and for that you can get such and such criteria, and then it goes all the way up to $1,500 sponsorships, and so for those you'll get more things of social media posts, more advertisement opportunities, sponsorship visits where we actually come to your business or whatever event you would like to have us at, and we promote your business along with you being able to support our organization.
that sounds awesome. And how do people follow you on social media and whatnot?
So we are on Facebook, Instagram, and then also we have a website where we post blog posts. So MissRodeoIllinois.com, and then at Miss Rodeo Illinois, it's ILL, and that is our Facebook and Instagram.
That sounds awesome. Well, we could keep visiting about this, but I can't think of anything. I was impressed in the sense that when I learned about this, they say it's about rodeo, agriculture, and then the cowboy lifestyle, right?
Yes, the Western way of life.
And it sounds like an RFD ad, actually, but very impressive that it's nothing I grew up with. I didn't grow up with horses, but as I moved out in the country, you definitely notice it a lot more now. When you go down south or out west, you see it, and big city folks couldn't fathom that. Some folks probably don't even realize they have this, right?
Yes, so it is definitely, I mean, we see it in Illinois all the time. Everyone thinks of Illinois as just Chicago, the big city of Chicago. And there's so much more that they don't see of people working every day to put food on the table, being a farmer, being a farmer's kid, being out in the fields, that, you know, it happens in a lot more states. And I will say, I have noticed with the production of Yellowstone, more and more people
now we're
are
talking,
seeing
sister.
the Western way of life and really liking it. And so I cannot thank Yellowstone enough for bringing that to light for several people.
Isn't that Delaney, what's her name? The singer. She's on the Yellowstone. Delaney Wilson?
Oh, Lainey Wilson. There you go.
Lainey Wilson. I'm sorry. Got you laughing there. Lainey Wilson. She's on the show, and she went from a not well-known name to hugely popular. And, Yellowstone. See, when I watch Yellowstone, it doesn't feel real, though. Like, everyone's clean. They're in clean outfits. It's a high-end Western lifestyle, wouldn't you say?
So that is true, but they do so much for the actual Western community that some people don't even know. So if you've seen like some of their fancier horses in some of their episodes, those are actual reining trainers that every single day are in their barn working, riding.
So if I tell you I've never watched a whole episode of Yellowstone, where should I start? Season 1, episode 1?
Season 1, episode 1, and you won't be able to stop.
I hear it's good, but I have a couple other things I need to be working on.
I'm sure you do.
But I will get to it next fall or something. It'll be out there. So you got Yellowstone's helping. Let's talk. There's. It's interesting because when we release a podcast, the Egg Bowl podcast, we can see where people are listening from, and all different sorts of people go for a ride and listen to different things. And this just goes right perfect with what we're doing here. Of course, we have to have more cattlemen and cattlewomen on the podcast. Can't have an Egg Bowl podcast without talking about cattle, which I haven't done a good enough job yet. But let's go with a couple horse questions. Like these horses you're riding, how much do they weigh, do you think?
Anywhere from about 1,000 to 1,300, depending on their breed or their body shape.
All right. Next speed round question. How long does a horse typically live?
So everybody used to say about 20 to 25 years, but with the improvement in nutrition and different feeds, horses are living to be almost to about 35 years old now.
So if there's hope for horses, there's hope for me. You open it right up for question number 3, nutrition. How much food and what type of food would you feed a horse like this? And being that Tony, nice as she is, threw you right in the stalls to work, you were taking the food from the front end and then getting rid of it in the back end. Is that correct?
That is true. So it really depends on what discipline you're in, how much you're working your horse, and what specifics they need for them. Some horses can't take a high intake of sugar, and other horses, if they're not being worked or conditioned regularly, they don't need to be on a grain or any sort of supplement. But if you're using a good performance horse, I prefer to have them on a quality grain with a higher protein count, and then they need to always have consistent hay in front of them.
What about oats? I think of horses and I think of oats.
So, yes, so a lot of horses
You're laughing. You're laughing at the guest host here for asking an oat question.
Yeah, so a lot of horses do take oats. It really depends. I know a lot of like older horses, they want to put them on oats just because it helps with their they can't really chew that harder grain. But it also just depends on that specific horse or what works for them.
Well, awesome. What else would you like to talk about? We have a few minutes left till we wrap up the show. You're a wonderful guest. Your host is so. I do enjoy working with you and the good people at Advanced Trading. And
Yes.
you can put me down for how much should I sponsor you for? What do I get for $250? Will that work?
For $250, sure. Let's see here. You'll be getting a signed autograph sheet.
Oh my!
And
Oh my! Wow!
they're very gorgeous. My director worked hard on them. So you'll get a signed autograph sheet, and then we'll send you a few other goodies in the mail.
All right, that sounds good. We'll count us in. How do people get a hold of you? Best way to get a hold of young Kayla Walker, Miss Rodeo, Illinois.
The best way to get a hold of me is through my email address, which is missrodeoillinois2023@yahoo.com. Or if you shoot us a message on Facebook or Instagram, we'll respond the same way. So
That sounds good. Now, I've never been out to Las Vegas in December, but maybe you going out there would be just the perfect excuse to go out there.
you should come. It is 10 days of rodeo, so you would be seeing a new adventure.
Well, I'm up for new things. I love agriculture, and our good friends over at RFD TV. You were on RFD TV, and I bet you if someone Googled your name, they could watch that little episode.
I was. It was such a fun experience. They were all so nice over there, easy to work with, and I'm just so happy that they were able to kind of spotlight some of me along with the Cowgirl channel.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I'm excited about that. I do like watching RFD, and I've learned a lot more about rodeo and stuff from just watching the show and their advertisements that they have on there. Well, Kayla, so great to have you on the Ag Bowl podcast. Of course, you didn't have far to commute. You went from your desk to the studio over there at Advanced Trading.
I went from my desk to a different room, so here we are.
I literally turned around from where I work all day for Advanced Trading and trading for myself, and we turned on the cameras and did this. But I wish you the best of luck. I know you're working hard. And the discipline that you are showing and moving towards will stick with you for a long way in life, I do believe.
I think we're on the right path, so.
Sounds good, everyone. Kayla Walker, Miss Rodeo, Illinois, a friend of the Ag Bowl podcast. And that's a wrap for this show. And as I always like to say, my name's Tommy Grisafi, and I'm bullish agriculture.